Hello, hello. Welcome back to Making It Up. I'm Isa, and today I'm going to show you how I take my makeup from literally no makeup all the way to a full glam. I've been seeing this concept a lot on Instagram. It's been floating around my feed, and I recently saw Jamie Page do it long form, and I felt inspired to put my own twist on it. So I'm going to be showing you 4 stages: no makeup, makeup, and then building that into a full glam. So it's gonna be pretty fun. It's gonna be educational. There's gonna be a lot of products. So if that sounds right up your alley, let's talk beauty. We're starting off literally no makeup, and I'm gonna show you what I like to do whenever I don't wanna do any makeup, but I still wanna look enhanced and put together. I always focus very strongly on obviously my skincare routine, add a lot of moisture, make sure everything is as good as it can be. Sometimes I'll do a pimple patch on, some problem areas of my face so that I'm not tempted to pick on them. Obviously today we're gonna be building on this, so I'm not gonna do that. But one thing that I absolutely love to do, just to even out the skin a little bit, is go in with a tinted SPF. This is the Eucerin Sensitive Mineral Face Zinc Oxide Protection Tinted Sunscreen Lotion for face. It's very moisturizing and it's gonna help me even out my skin a little bit more. I don't know if this is considered makeup, but technically it's not, and it's the SPF step that I will be doing every single day regardless, so might as well be tinted, right? So let's put the hair back. This is also like just a really good product. It's not overly tinted, but it does feel very nice on the skin. It is a very subtle thing, but it works for me, so I go with it. The next thing I like to do is simply like brush up my brows. Let me find my spoolie, just to make sure they're, in place. Not adding any product here, just getting rid of any like excess SPF that might have gotten on there, and just, when you brush your hair, it's the same thing for me. I'm brushing my brows. One new thing that I have been doing for the past few weeks is curling my lashes. So all I do is I take my lash curler, I don't go ham, I just do a little bit, and just curl my lashes. And that immediately just wakes the eyes up without having to do or add anything. So I really like that. Last step, I like to take my Aquaphor big ass stick and just add this to my lips. One weird thing that I do like to do is I add a little bit of this to my finger and just like run it along the tips of my lashes. And this just kind of gives them a little bit more. I don't know how to explain it. It keeps them up. And that is basically my no makeup routine for when I want to still look put together but not add an ounce of makeup to my skin. Okay, now we move on to the no makeup category, which is probably my favorite category. I love a good no makeup look. I love looking like I'm not wearing anything, but just knowing that I've enhanced my features with a few products. God, it's my kryptonite. So anyways, let's build upon this. Starting out with a little bit of concealer. I have really bad under eyes, so I sometimes like to just focus on concealer, and sometimes when I want that super subtle brightness, super subtle coverage, just a step up of wearing no makeup, I go in with the Huda Beauty Glowish. This is the Bright Light Sheer Concealer in the shade Fair. And listen, this, some people hate it, some people love it. I personally love it. It is literally just an eye brightener. Okay, this brightens up my eyes. Sometimes I do like to add it to other areas. This is not gonna add any coverage, so I'm not thinking about that, just to even out the skin and make certain areas bright. I like to go in with a brush and add this to my under eyes, and as you can see, it's not adding a lot of coverage, but it's really amping up the brightness, so it's making me look less tired, which is exactly what I want. I am breaking out a lot. When I'm doing a no makeup, I really do try to leave everything as is. I want to add as minimal coverage as possible as well, because I'm only applying this to certain points of my skin. I don't want it to look like, product, no product. So I definitely prefer lighter products because of that. I will also be adding a little bit of blush. I think blush can make a huge difference. A blush really works well for my complexion, so when I want to brighten things up a little bit more and make myself look a little flushed, a little more alive, we're going for the blush instead of the bronzer. I will be using the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Matte Liquid Pigment in the shade This is Exposed. I just recently used it in my last video. I've really fallen in love with how this looks as a blush on me. This is a matte, but because my skin is slightly dewy from all the products that I've applied and no powder, it's just gonna blend seamlessly and it's gonna last a long time, even if I'm not setting it. As you can see, it just adds that bit of extra color. It's nothing crazy, but it does add a little bit more dimension to my skin. I do sometimes like to add a little bit of this elsewhere to make sure everything is like, you know, cohesive and there's not just color here. But because this is very light, I'm not piling up a lot of product on my skin. Now it just looks like I have a little bit of a natural flush, which again, really love that. Let's move on to the eyes. Usually when I'm doing a no makeup look, I leave my brows as they are and add a clear brow gel. This is the Half Magic Grippy Brow. This is a sculpting gel, but I find it to be very natural. It doesn't look like anything on the brows. It doesn't leave any residue and it's not hard. It's not gonna harden my brows whatsoever, so they're gonna look natural. They're not gonna look super dewy. Sometimes a few brow products that I own leave my brows looking a little bit wet. Don't love that. This one doesn't do that. It just brushes everything up very nicely and it looks very natural, which is the goal. And then for my lashes, more often than not, I will add a little bit of mascara because I'm a mascara girl. I know some people do like no makeup and then add no mascara. Could not be me. I do like to add a brown mascara to make it a little less contrasty, and also I really just add this. I'm using the Essence Lash Princess in the brown shade to the tips of my lashes, as you can see. So I'm not going everywhere. And that makes it look a little bit more natural. Obviously, I'm using a more natural mascara. I wouldn't be using like a crazy mascara, but you could use like a more intense mascara, and if you're only applying it to the tips of your lashes, it's not gonna look that intense. But as you can see, it adds the effect, and because we've already curled the lashes, it doesn't look crazy. But I don't look like I'm wearing a lot, and that's exactly what I want when I'm doing a no makeup look. And then last but not least, in a no makeup, I do like to add a tinted lip balm because fun, right? I have a lot and I just want to nourish my lips but also add a little bit of color. I'm using the Edam Lip Softening Balm in the shade Fig Sauce. Oh my god, I love this so much, and it can look like a very intimidating color, but if I sheer it out, it almost just looks like it's my lip shade, right? My lips but better in a way. And you get the gist. This is my no makeup routine. It has changed a little bit throughout the years, but for the most part, this has always been something that I do. Okay, so now things are starting to get serious. We're gonna build up this no makeup look into a makeup look. Keep in mind, I am more of a natural makeup person, so my makeup is never gonna be super intense, but I know that you guys like that and that's why you're here, so let's move on. So usually when I'm doing like more of a full-on makeup look, I am using a skin tint and a fuller coverage concealer for my base. Obviously, I already have a few things going on right here, so I'm gonna be applying my skin tint around the areas where I already applied the blush. It doesn't matter if I go a little bit over because I'm gonna be reapplying blush anyway, but I just wanna be a little bit more mindful of that, obviously. If I was starting from scratch, that wouldn't have to happen, but today I'm using the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum in the shade Very Light. This I have loved, as you can see, for years and years. It is such a good tinted moisturizer product from the drugstore, and it might be a little bit light for me, but that's fine. As I was saying, this is really good. It's very light coverage, but it evens out the skin very well, and it also makes it look like you're not wearing anything. So one of the reasons why I love it so much. Also making sure that I hit it with a sponge because I'm not able to like manipulate it the way I want it on my skin. It can look a little bit streaky. Once that is evened out, I'm gonna go in with a concealer. I am someone who likes a higher coverage when it comes to concealer. I'm using obviously my House Labs Triglow concealer. Because my problem area is my under eyes, I definitely prioritize them when it comes to coverage. So I can do very minimal coverage everywhere else, but concealer is a must. I also add it to the breakouts that I have currently, which is quite a bit. You don't need like a full-on high coverage foundation. All you need is a good concealer that has good coverage, and you pinpoint the coverage wherever you need it. And then that way your makeup can look more natural, your skin can breathe. When it comes to doing a fuller on makeup look, I do like to set it. I do love a powder, Kosas Breezy powder. This is the Cloud Set powder. The shade is Breezy. This is my favorite because it doesn't look super intense, but it makes sure everything is set and there is no shine. I really like it. So I do like to add this everywhere where I applied my concealer to set, but also anywhere I know I get shiny throughout the day. So it's probably most usually my whole face. Now we're gonna build up on the cheek products. I'm gonna be using the same blush, but I'm gonna incorporate a bronzer first. This is a Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. Whenever I'm doing like a full face of makeup, definitely, you know, wanna add that warmth, that dimension that bronzer brings. I like to apply this with a sponge. It makes it a little bit more seamless and it looks like it's coming from within, you know? I'm not being super careful with this because the blush that I applied kind of melts very well into this color, but also I didn't apply a ton of blush, so it works well. And as you can see, this just, oof, adds a bit of that extra dimension that my skin was needing. And this is a very, very subtle bronzer, so I like that. Obviously, I like a sheer bronzer. It lets things shine through. And it also, you know, it looks very natural, which even though I'm doing a fuller face of makeup, I still want to look natural. So now I'm gonna go back in with the blush and slowly adding more to my cheeks. Blush tends to be the thing that goes the fastest, it fades the fastest. So whenever I'm doing more of a fuller face of makeup, I do like to add a little bit extra. Might look crazy in the moment, but you'll thank me later because this is gonna fade. Whenever I'm doing a fuller face of makeup as well, freckles are a must. I love freckles. I'm using the Freck XL to add some. I just think freckles add just that extra oomph to a look. Again, making it look a little bit more natural. But I do feel like they add that extra bit of personality to a look, so whenever I'm doing something more makeup-y, I do like to incorporate these. You can also do it when you're doing like a no makeup. I think that would also look really cute. For some reason, when I'm doing something more natural, I feel like it's just too much work. For the brows, if I'm doing something a little bit more full out, I usually just use a tinted brow gel. If I can't be bothered, right now I'm using the Kosas Air Brow in the shade Medium Brown because I know this one builds up very well. Usually if you're, you know, if I'm starting a makeup look from scratch, I don't have anything on my brows yet, so it doesn't matter what I'm using. But right now, I already had something there, so just adding a bit of that extra tint to my brows. Obviously, I have very thick brows, so I can get away with doing this and not filling them in. This kind of does the job for me. Now for the eyes, this is where things get interesting because we're gonna start adding some eyeshadow. Yay, finally. I'll be using the About Face Matte Fluid Eye Paint in the shade Smell Before Rain, and I'm just gonna be applying this all over my eyes. I lied, I'm mainly gonna be applying it on the crease, but it's probably gonna go all over. And I really like this shade. It's kind of like a taupey matte shade. It's super flattering. Almost invisible, but it does add that extra bit of shadow there. A little bit to the lower lash line. And this is such a simple formula. You don't need a primer, you don't need anything. I could even blend this out with my fingers. Sometimes I do like to do that. But today I felt like being a little bit bougier and going in with a brush. I am gonna be adding a little bit of eyeliner because this is essential for me. It's a brown, it's not super harsh, it is Urban Decay. It's a 24/7 Glide On eye pencil. This has been used and abused, and all I'm gonna do is add a little bit of this to the outermost corner of my eye and like flick it. It's a little hard to do this when you already have mascara on because you can't really see, but I'll just add a little wing, a little flick. I'm not even gonna go all over. If you want to, you can. I just can't be bothered to do that. I just want that bit of elongation. Because I already have a little bit of mascara, as I said, it's harder. I'm gonna go in with more. Now I'm gonna go and coat the entirety of my lashes. The lips are almost exactly the same as they were before. I'm just applying a lip liner. I'm using the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Wherever Walnut. I really love like a no frills lip. So if I'm wearing my makeup for every day, I'm on the go, I really just want something that's easy to reapply. And this is like in my Lips Better shade of lip liner, so I just overline with it. And it usually lasts a long time for me. I'm just gonna go back in with the Eden Lip Softening Balm and blending this into the liner. In general, I do like a sheer lippy. It can be something like this lip balm. It can be like an actual sheer lipstick product. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that it's something that's easy to reapply and it looks sheer, but this is the makeup look. It's definitely more natural, but the eyes give it a little bit more of like an oomph. But I really, really love it. It's still me. It's still, you know, not super heavy coverage. And yeah, it's everything that I want for it in a look. Okay, and we've finally made it to the makeup portion of this, aka the full glam. Honestly, it's not super different from this. As I said, I'm more of like a natural makeup gal, but it definitely is a little bit more amped up. There's a little bit of something extra there. So let's get started with contour. Where is my freaking contour? It's here. Contour, super important for me whenever I'm doing something that is more intense because it will add that like chiseled look. I'm gonna be using the Milk Makeup Contour Stick. This is the shade Toasted. I don't use contour all that often because I'm not doing like a full glam all that often, but this just is the best contour product ever. And I literally just apply it right here to amplify my cheekbones. I don't go too crazy with the contour, but this, as you can see, adds a little something extra to the look, makes you look more sculpted. I have to cheat this side a little bit more. Definitely going in with some product here, making sure we're getting rid of that. We're chiseling this situation right here. I'll grab a little bit of this under the lip and on the cupidol. Just makes the lips a little bit more pouty. Continuing with the cheek products, I'm going to add a bronzer and a blush, but whenever I'm doing a full glam, I want to add the creams and then I want to set the creams with a powder so that it lasts, but also gives me a more intense look. So for bronzer, I'm using the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, a classic. I freaking love this. And I'm using like a big brush, kind of taking it everywhere, making sure my skin is bronzed, you know what I mean? Going everywhere with this. For some extra blush, I'm using this Inglot Freedom System Luscious Cheek Face Blush in the shade 127. It is a mauve. It is really cool tone, I know. So I'm going in with a bigger brush to make sure this isn't super crazy. And just adding it wherever I added the other blush, almost up to like my eye here. I've been liking that look a lot. And again, blush is the first thing to go whenever you're doing, you know, your makeup. So I do like to pile it on Maybe it'll look a little clownish, but it will last. One last thing for my cheeks is highlighter. Sometimes I want some, sometimes I don't, but if I'm doing like, if I'm doing like a fuller glam, there is going to be a highlighter in there, and this is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter, which I applied, unfortunately, a little bit too much over here, but we're gonna fix that. Really fucking love this so much. It is just your subtle glow, adds enough. Now, usually when I'm doing something more full glam, I will be filling in my brows. I'm gonna be using the Maybelline Build-A-Brow in the shade Ash Brown, only on the areas where I feel like I need it. Obviously, I already have a lot of product here. I don't want to disrupt that more, which is why I'm going in with a pen, because I feel like this is gonna give me the precision that I need to not F up my brows. But I usually just go in to the areas where I feel like I need a little extra help. Now I'm gonna do a little bit more on the eyes. I'm gonna add a little bit more shadow. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back into the Urban Decay eyeliner, and I'm gonna tightline with this only on the outer corner. And then I'm gonna run this on the outer part of my lash line as well, and blend it out with my fingy. A little hard to see now, but I have faith that I'm doing it right. For eyeshadows, I'm gonna go in with my Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette. My go-to, I could keep this matte or I could go shimmery. I don't know what I wanna do, but first, I just wanna add a little bit more intensity to the crease. So I'm gonna go in with this color and just add slightly more depth to this look. It's not intense, it's almost the exact same color as what I applied on my lids before this, but this is just gonna add more depth, which is what I want. Also adding to the lower lash line, we're not gonna neglect it. It needs to be a little more smoky if I'm doing a full glam. And then I'm gonna go in with a tiny brush and the deepest brown color, and I'm just gonna apply this on top of where the eyeliner went to set that, but also add depth. I'm also gonna be winging this color out. Just gonna keep adding more intensity to this faux wing that we've got going on right now. So just blending things out a little more, making it a little more dramatic. I'm also gonna be adding a little bit of this brown color only to the outer corner of my lower lash line to make sure it connects with the wing. And once that's done, I do want to add a bit of a shimmer. Honestly, a shimmer is like the easiest way. If you don't wear a lot of eyeshadow and you want to amp up a look, you want to make it look, you know, like you did a lot, but you didn't really do anything, use a shimmer. I think I'm going to use, I don't know, should I use the gold or like this? Maybe this one that's a little bit more neutral, more pinky. And I'm going to be adding it to the inner corner. I'm going to do it all over the lid. Who am I kidding? And these are some of my favorite shimmers ever. They're so nice. Okay, now it is time to add even more mascara. Obviously, I wouldn't be wearing any mascara if I was doing this from scratch, but for a look like this, the brown honestly works very well. Like, you could just keep the brown if you want, but if I'm doing something like full on, first of all, I need mascara on my lower lashes. Second of all, it needs to be black, so I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the YSL Lash Clash Mascara. This is obviously the black shade, and I'm not gonna add a lot because I don't want this to get super spidery, but obviously if I was doing it from scratch, I would add enough layers so that it looks very full on. Last but not least, we have the lips. Now for the lips, obviously nude looks very, very beautiful with this look, right? I like it, but if I want to really amp it up and like do something crazy and actually do, you know, makeup, like full glam, I like to go in with a bold lip. So let's remove this and apply a red. So I'm first gonna line with the Make It Forever Artist Color Pencil in Perpetual Fire. This is the shade. And usually when I'm doing a red lip, I do like to use the lip liner all over the lip like this, so that if the lip fades or whatever happens, you already have a good base. And one thing about me is that I do struggle with a bold lip. Like, I'm not the best at making myself look good. It takes a bit of time. Okay, and once the shape sort of works for me, I'm gonna go in with the Sephora Soft Matte and Easy Smooth Matte Lip Color in the shade Je ne sais quoi. I really love this one. It's more like a blue red, and it's such a good red and a formula. And I have to spend like 30 minutes just making this look as even as possible on my lips. So this is gonna take a while, BRB. Okay, and once I've been toying with my lips for 1,000 hours, that is it. This is the entirety of the full glam. This is the fullest form of glam I will ever go. Maybe that's a lie, but for the most part, this is pretty intense for me, to be honest. But sometimes when it's full glam, you just have to go for it. It's just a few tweaks away from like a regular makeup look for me. But this definitely like packs a punch. You can totally tell like I'm wearing a bunch of makeup. Like I'm going somewhere, you know what I mean? And now you know how to transition your makeup from no makeup all the way to a full glam. If you enjoyed, please let me know. Leave me all your thoughts down below, and as always, like this video if you did, and subscribe down below if you're into super easy and real makeup and beauty content that you can actually relate to. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was entertaining, and I hope to see you right here for the next one, dude. I love you. Bye. Mwah.